Say hello.
Hello.
How are you feeling?
Worried about the state of the world.
And I think we're also obviously very worried about us, our kids, people of color, LGBTQ community, especially the trans and non-binary community. We're worried about
everybody that's not a white man.
Yes.
Anybody who has a uterus.
Yes.
Anybody who wants to make their own healthcare decisions.
Yes.
I'm worried about all those people.
We have kind of toiled over how we were going to do this video, which I think is why it took us so long, because we're obviously more than a week past the election, and we are a week now past the results. And I think it's been really hard. I think we're stunned, but also not surprised at all. And I think after 2016, like, nothing really left us for surprise anymore. It's just kind of like, oh, okay. Sounds about right.
Yep.
And if you're an LGBTQ person in this country, you need to make a plan. This isn't to raise an alarm. It's real. It's happening. And regardless of the number of people who are going to gaslight you and tell you that there's nothing wrong and they aren't coming after your marriage, don't listen to them. You need to make a plan. And Leanne and I obviously revert back to 2012 when we first got married and had a ceremony. We did not get married with a marriage license. We got married with a domestic partnership because Prop 8 was in effect in California, and it was not legal for us to get married. So we're just going to kind of go over all the things that we did initially to kind of solidify our partnership, and then also everything we did when Trump was president first time around, because we also did other things because we had kids at that point and needed to also solidify parentage.
Yeah, I don't think we have to tell everybody that, like, you can't have hope, because there still can be hope that democracy will stand and we have the proper checks and balances in place to make sure that Trump can't do whatever he wants. But I think if I follow any mantra, it's prepare for the, plan for whatever, but prepare for the worst.
Yeah. You can have hope with a plan.
Yeah. So,
like, obviously we're hoping that none of this is necessary. It's going to be a chaotic 4 years, But
if it gets to the point where things are getting really bad and people feel unsafe in their home and in their communities, and, it's starting to look like Germany in the late 30s and 40s, then you want to prepare yourself and be able to protect your family. And so these are, everybody's mileage may vary, but these are the things that we did to protect ourselves. And I think, if you've got kids and you haven't filed a second parent adoption and you're the non-birthing parent, that's first on the list. You want to protect yourself to make sure that, even if you have a birth certificate that both parents' names are on, that isn't a legal court-ordered document that stands up in a court of law in all 50 states. So if you adopt your children and get that stamped by the court, then that's going to be given full faith and credit by any state, even if states, like if Obergefell is overturned, then that would mean that states would be able to pass constitutional bans on same-sex marriage in their state constitutions. And if that's the case, then even if you don't have a valid marriage, you want to make sure that your parental rights are secured. Mm-hmm. So that's number one.
And the biggest thing about that is not whether or not I would ever take parenting rights from you. Not that I think my family ever would either. But it's the idea that if I weren't here anymore, she needs to be the automatic assumed parent. And people can fight her for that because it happens. It's been known to happen. And I think coming in with that is make sure that your family knows that your wishes, if something were to happen to either of you.
Yeah. So that goes to the next thing, which is you want to get your affairs in order and make sure that you have notarized documents saying where your kids are going to go in the event that you aren't around anymore. So, I mean, that goes for all parents in general, just to be safe. But if you don't have anything in writing, now would be the time to get something down in writing, even if it's just like a short piece of paper, and keep it with either a family attorney if you have one or somebody close in your family that you trust.
Yeah. A living will and also just a regular will. You want to make sure that all of those things are stated, your wishes are stated in writing. I think it's like the biggest thing that's important is that they can find documents that say these were the wishes of this person. And they're very important. Make sure that you have documents with your legal last names. Leanne and I changed our last name to Mertzman. That's like obvious. But Leanne was Mertz and I was Perlman. And we changed everything to make sure that our last name is reflected on all of our legal documents. You want to make sure that all of that is in order. Get a fireproof lockbox and make sure all of your documents are there, that you know where they are, and someone that you trust knows where they are if they need to locate them.
Passports, if you have passports. If you don't have a passport, maybe now's the time to think about getting one.
It's not now that
it's past time to think about getting one.
It is past the time. You need to go and apply for your passports. It's expensive, but it is worthwhile. And if for any reason
you need to get
out,
you're going to want to be able to do that.
You want to be able to do that.
And in order to get your passport, you need certified copies of your birth certificates. You can go to your state Secretary of State office, like online, and you should be able to get those, even if you don't have a regular copy of it. Make sure that to the extent that you have life insurance or benefits through work, make sure that your kids and your spouse or your domestic partner is a beneficiary to all those.
That you have a listed power of attorney, medical power. There's medical and there's financial powers of attorney. You want to make sure all of those are in order.
If you're somebody specifically who maybe you're estranged from your parents or your family, the reason that these things are important is because in the event that you are incapacitated or no longer able to state what your wishes are, you want to make sure that, like you said, it's all down in writing and somebody that you trust has access to it. So that, for instance, your parents, if they're homophobes or whatever, can't try to take your children away from your partner or something like that.
We are lucky that we are not in that situation, but we know people who are, and we just want to make sure that you protect yourself and your kids, because
I remember
end up in the wild
like
west.
when Trump was in office the first time, I remember I had so much shame about feeling like I needed to do a second parent adoption because it's stupid, like it's dumb that somebody would try to challenge my own parental rights to my kids. Like, I was there for both of their births and all of that, but at the end of the day, you need it on paper. So most states have now streamlined processes in order to do it pretty quickly. But you can get online and, reach out to your networks, to your Facebook groups. There are people who've done this before. So you're not going to be the first one doing it in your state, no matter where you are.
And there's also tons of resources and ways to get help. And I know that people are offering free services. I know that there's at least people who are notaries who are offering it no charge to get things notarized. And because why does any of this matter? It's all extra cost. This is all extra cost that straight couples do not have to deal with. And this is money, and we are obviously in a challenging time right now. I know financially for a lot of people. So who has the money to do any of this? And that's exactly the point. the point is to give hurdles and hoops so that, oh, you can claim that the legalities are there, that you can do these things, right, but it's not equal.
By the time it comes to the point where you're going to need all these things, it's going to be too late if you haven't already done them. I know that that's a scary thought. Nobody wants to think about our country turning into a kind of place where, you know, concentration camps or death camps or anything like that happen. But if it does happen, you're not going to have the time to get any of these things done. So like Allison said, we're not trying to be alarmist. We're trying to be realistic. And we're going to continue to fight and hope that, you know, like I said, democracy can prevail. But in the event that it doesn't, I don't want anybody to sit here thinking, well, I didn't know what to do. We didn't see this coming, because we're telling you that it's coming.
Yeah.
You can choose to believe it or not. But when push comes to shove and things get really bad, we will be out with our passports, not looking back. So
we will not wait for it to get bad.
Mm-hmm.
That is never, it is, I'm Jewish. It's in my DNA to run. And I won't wait. And truthfully, like, red flags are there. And I'm not going to wait.
Yeah. So if this was the wake-up call that you needed to start getting your go bag ready, and like you said, prepared. You can get a fireproof lockbox.
I'll tag one. I'll put one in the...
And you can start keeping all your important documents and things in there.
Yeah. We've got one. We have, you know, this is all stuff, you know, like, we're still here. You know, we're still in the U.S. right now. And this is all things that we have already done because we have seen this before. Leanne and I have been in a place where we weren't legally married. You know, like, I was 20 weeks pregnant with Ruthie when marriage was legalized. So we had plans in place to have children and to be together regardless of whether or not the states and the federal government recognized it. And we're just sharing the things that we have done to prepare in the event it were to happen again. So.
And on that note, like, they can, just specifically with regards to gay marriage, like, even if Obergefell does get overturned, not one single gay person is going to be deterred from getting married. No. We were married long before Obergefell was on the books, and we will continue to be married even if it is overturned. So I just want to let everybody know that, in case you weren't sure, since for as long as humans have existed, gay people have been living in communities and in society and being gay, and nothing that anybody does in the government is going to stop that. No. So we just want to make sure you guys are all protected.
Because we care about our community. And we're also really sorry this is happening.
You're not alone.
You're not. Feels like it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Words of wisdom, support?
Mm-hmm. Hold each other tight and hold your kids tight.
Keep surrounding them with people who love them and care about them and will fight for your family.
And know that if you're having to let go of family or friends or people that have been in your life for a long time after this election, it's not overreacting to stand on your laurels and to want to surround yourself with people who believe the same things that you do, like in acceptance and tolerance and love and understanding. It is okay for you to cut out people whose values do not align with your own, even if they're related by blood.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not going to love you unconditionally, what's the point?
Yep.
And honestly, your children specifically, I think, like, obviously, when I came out, I had plenty of people who loved me conditionally, but that was like par for the course. That was expected. Of course, they're going to love me conditionally because being gay is wrong and bad. Well, I am not that person anymore. It is 20 years later, and being gay is not wrong and bad. In fact, it's great and wonderful, and it has made me a better person. And if someone can't see that, that's not my problem. That's not my problem.
No.
Like, they're a problem at this point. And I'm not going to be a part of that. And I'm certainly not going to subject my kids to that. We deserve better. And you deserve better.
Yep.
And
we'll link some resources down below.
We will. Stay strong. You've got this. We've got this. Gay people have been fighting forever. And we will continue. Especially for our trans brothers and sisters, because we are going to fight for them. They need it the most right now. So, we love you guys. Tell them you love them.
We love you guys.
All right, stay safe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.